Hey guys, it's Jack Kirby here, and today we are joined by Sam Boulton. Is that actually...
Hello.
Hang on, let me rewind. It is Bolton, right? That's the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, I think technically it's Bolton, like you go down on the U, but I've never said that myself. It's Bolton.
Fair enough. Well, Sam, for those of them listening and watching out there at the moment, do you want to give me a quick rundown as to exactly what you would call yourself in Birmingham?
Yeah, so my name's Sam Boulton. I'm the owner-operator of the Vanguard Cocktail Bar and Meadery in the Jewellery Quarter. I am also the owner of the Modern Mead Company and the meadboutique.com. So yeah, there are a couple of businesses that mostly people know me from the bar in Birmingham now.
Fantastic. And of course, what is your relation to Birmingham Cocktail Weekend?
So this year, normally year on year, we're kind of one of the venues that participates every year. It's an event we kind of, as soon as the bar opened, Alex approached us and we got really behind it. This year, however, in a COVID-19 world, we've decided to work with Cocktail Weekender to create gift boxes or kind of like cocktail packs. So we're the kind of partnering with Cocktail Weekender to create them.
Fantastic. Obviously, there are 4 cocktails per box that go out. Do you want to just quickly run through the names for me? Give me a quick lowdown of the cocktails that are being pushed out.
Yeah, so we developed 9 cocktails in total, and then we sent them off to the owner of Cocktail Weekender, and she had a look through, and with her astute eye picked 4 of them. So we've got one that we're going to make for you today, which is the Clockwork Orange. We've also got a Yuzu Spritz, which is a personal favourite of mine. We've then got the Sunset Boulevard, and we've got This Is Peachin'. All chosen by Alex, the owner. Like I said, we sent off quite a few, and these are the 4 that she felt were going to be the best. They also got there's a bit of a kind of a theme within them. They're all kind of more summery drinks, as obviously Cocktail Weekend almost always happens on a great weekend where there's loads of sun. So kind of hopefully fits in with that, and anybody sitting can have them at home cold in the garden or whatever.
Yeah, of course. I've got to ask, obviously, as you've sent 9 across and only 4 were picked, is there one that didn't quite make it that you wish kind of did?
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely biased because it had my mead in it. But we did one that was a kind of a long mead serve with like a fresh Asian pear.
Ooh, okay.
I thought it was absolutely delicious. Alex did agree, however, there were all other factors we had to consider when making the drinks, like veganism and dietary requirements, and that didn't fit as easily as the others. So we wanted to make sure that the process of creating them was also good. So I would have liked it in, but it's not a shame that it's not there.
Yeah. Either way, I'm sure all 4 of them. I haven't had a chance to try them yet. My order's in and I'm waiting for the box. But I do believe we're trying one today, as you've previously mentioned.
Yes.
Clockwork Orange.
We've got the Sunset Boulevard. The Clockwork Orange. That's what we're making. I think I'd know what we're doing. The Clockwork Orange. To be honest with you, I don't know if anyone else does. Does anyone correct when they start doing something, they think this isn't going to work out. It's not going to be very good, and then like you get to the end of it and you're like, that was perfect. And that was kind of it with this drink. I was just kind of not messing about, but I made 8 drinks already in a row, and I was kind of, when you make a drink that's being pre-batched, there's a lot more to think about than just making it in a bar. First of all, how's that person getting it? You control the dilution perfectly. So normally when you drink in a bar, the dilution's obviously done by the bartender, then you hand it to the person. It's nice and cold, and you can control all these elements before you give it them. Whereas when you're sending something in a box to somebody's house, a lot of people will just crack them open, sniff them, and then take a swig. So we had to kind of think of those things, also make sure that they're stable, so that if somebody has it in a box, for whatever reason doesn't drink it that weekend, it has to be safe. So there's certain ingredients you can't use. So there's a lot more things to go in there. So I think I'd kind of got to the end of my process and I was running out of, I was a bit tired mentally. And then we trialed this drink just off the cuff, and I think it's one of the best ones in the box. So we started with a base of, shall I explain and you want to make it as we go?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, cool. So we started with a base of, yes, for this you will need to, because you'll need to water it down.
Sounds good.
So
Excuse my fingers.
that's fine. As you're at home doing it. So what I would say for people who get the box, the best thing is to do is take them out. Make sure you put them in the fridge for a couple hours. Get them nice and chilled down. And then if you want to drink them, they'll be ready to be drunk out of the fridge then. However, you can put them over ice. There's a little information in the box that tells you which ones you can lengthen and a couple of ideas as well. So with this one, what you're going to do is take the Grand Marnier. So we chose the Grand Marnier for this one. For those who don't know, Grand Marnier is an orange kind of infused cognac, which kind of some would put a lot of people off, but however, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's one of them things you don't see anymore.
Yeah.
Use that often, but I actually think it's a fantastic kind of base to drinks. So you're going to do 25 milliliters of that. This is the booziest drink in the box as well by far.
Okay,
25 is the other way around.
Yeah.
Other side.
No. What about? This one's 25. 15,
What?
25, 50. No, 15, 25, 45.
Oh, you got an American one.
I do have an American one.
So 25 mil of that. Then we're going to go on to 25 mil of Liquor 43. So Liquor 43 is an orange and vanilla kind of flavored liqueur. However, it has got 43 different ingredients in there, giving it flavor. So the predominant ones are the orange and vanilla that you're going to get.
So
it's much sweeter though. The Grand Marnier is not that sweet, although it does have a bit of sugar in there. It's not that sweet. So this is going to add a bit more sweetness to the drink, make it a bit more palatable. So you're going to do 25 milliliters again of that.
So the first time I ever drank this was Cocktail Weekend, like 3-4 years ago. Do you remember Amantia on Bennett Hill?
Yes. Yeah.
They made a bay leaf martini.
Okay.
That had this as one of the primary ingredients.
Interesting, yeah. Because there was a Spanish place, wasn't it? Liquor 43 Spanish, yeah. Makes sense. Then you've got, so we've sent Jack some ingredients because they're a bit more harder to find. We've got we'll do the ginger wine first. So if you do 50 milliliters of the ginger wine, so when you're making drinks for pre-batching, you have to think of things like how the mouth feel. If you were to take a drink, it's very complex. It's to do with how alcohol reacts at lower temperatures. But if you were to take a drink and just pour it out like a normal drink you'd make in a bar, pour it out at room temperature, it'd be super thin. And even if you took it out of the fridge, so to keep that kind of nice mouthfeel, rather than using, just plonking a load of water in there to water drinks down, which is what most cocktail companies would do because it makes sense. We've used the ginger wine to kind of retain the mouthfeel. Okay. So the ginger wine itself is fantastic. It's Lime Bay down in Devon who make it, and it's one of the best ginger wines I've ever had. But it retains that mouthfeel without adding too much sweetness, or it's not overly gingery as well. Like it's got a nice, pleasant gingerness, but it's not fiery, so it doesn't kind of detract from the other ingredients. So you got 50 mils of that, and then in the other little one we've got tonka bean eau de vie, which in layman's terms is a super strong alcohol made from tonka beans. Tonka beans are a little bean that you get from Madagascar and Brazil and places like that, and it's normally used as a vanilla replacement. So this drink is very orange and vanilla kind of heavy. Now you need to do 3 very small drops. So I'd recommend. Oh, perfect! There you go, even better.
So the smell
He's thought about
is
this.
so fragrant. It's gorgeous. It's almost kind of perfumey.
Yeah, it's 60% as well. So that's why we're just using a couple teeny little droplets of it because it is very strong and very expensive. So that's why we had to send Jack some out because it's not something you come across day to day. So yeah, with this kind of less is more on this one. You wouldn't put a couple of milliliters in there because it'd blow your face off.
What you're saying is don't lick the end of the straw right now.
You can do if you want. You just won't taste much else for a while.
I didn't get anything from that, to be fair.
Perfect. Then start stirring that all together. So this drink is ready to drink now, but obviously Jack needs to get the temperature down. So stirring it on ice will stir it down. So when you receive it in the boxes, you won't need to do this. All you need to do is chill down in the fridge, pour it over ice, and you're ready to drink.
Fantastic.
That should be plenty now. Once it's chilled down enough for you to drink, you don't need to add any dilution to it.
And I think previously you mentioned a garnish of an orange. I was adamant I had oranges in the house. I do not have oranges in the house.
That's fine. We designed all them to not necessarily need the garnish because, just to make it easy. It's easy to just pop them in the fridge and drink them. So you don't need it. If you do want to at home, you can take a little bit of orange zest and spritz that over the top. But again, not a necessity, just a luxury if you have it.
Oh, the fragrance on that, as you mentioned, like that kind of vanilla. It's so summery. There's a really kind of. I mean, I'm recording this at like 10 o'clock at night. It's rainy outside, but I completely agree that I should be sat outside in the sun drinking this.
Yeah, like I said, this is definitely the strongest one in the box. So if people want to save this one till last, it makes sense. But I think it's one of my favourites in the box.
I'm gonna give it a try. Cheers.
No.
Oh wow. Oh, I can see what you mean about that mouth kind of.
Yeah, so it should taste and feel the same as what you would get in a bar. So a lot of people pick up straight away in the kind of serving sizes. Traditionally, a short cocktail, which is what that is anywhere between kind of 80 to 110 ml kind of at most.
Mm-hmm.
You normally serve it with plenty of ice in the drink, but the ice makes up well over half of the glass of ice, the glass volume even. But what we wanted to do is just trying to deliver that quality at home whilst taking away all the effort from everyone else.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. But the flavour profile, and I can like that orange really lingers and kind of sits at the back of the mouth, on the back of the tongue. But
it's because you've got so many different types of orange in there as well. I mean, Liquor 43 will have various different types of orange, and then Grand Marnier has select oranges that they have for themselves. So the Grand Marnier adds more of a zestiness, I feel, whereas the Liquor 43 adds more of kind of a juicy orange to it.
Definitely, I'm getting that the almost freshly squeezed, and the ginger wine. I'm a big fan of the flavour of ginger. And it's not like a punch you in the face kind of ginger. It's like a really mellow, but it pairs really well. It's like you said, this was something that you were playing around with, and you didn't think. Well, at the time, you said you were kind of on the outside looking in. I thought it wasn't going to be complex enough because there were so many similar flavours going in. Mm-hmm. But then you think. Cognac alone has quite a lot of different flavours. Liquor 43's got 43 flavourants, and then you're adding tonka bean and ginger to that as well. So I think it all kind of comes together. So from your aspect of creating this, when was the point that you sat there and went, this is going to be put out to Alex, put out to the selection?
We only trialled this one once, and we were like, right, that is fantastic. We'll send that to you. Because normally the biggest concern was the tonka bean alcohol, because that's quite strong, and the difference between 2 and 3 dashes can be massive because it's so flavoursome. And I used 3 straight off the bat, which meant it could be very, very, very tonkery. But because the other ingredients have got so much flavour anyway, it doesn't overshadow them. No. Like, because that sometimes you can make a drink with that and all it tastes of is tonka bean. And for those who don't know what tonka bean is, it's very similar to vanilla. It's like a more earthy vanilla.
It's quite, from a palate kind of perspective, you go into this expecting a lot of sweetness. The orange, like I said, the kind of earthy vanilla. It's very odd that this isn't too sweet.
Yeah, and that's mainly down to one, the Grand Marnier. So brandy in general is quite good at drying things out. So brandy cocktails tend to be a little bit dry depending on what you've done to them. Grand Marnier itself does have sugar added, but it's not tons. But it's mainly the high alcohol. So like I said, that tonka bean alcohol is 60%. And when you add more ABV to a drink, it dries it out massively because alcohol inherently is dry, which means there's no sugar added. So you normally add a lot. So because that's so high, a couple of dashes of that really brings back, because Liquor 43 is very sugary. And that's what's helping balance the drink so much, which is why when I was worried about adding 3, it probably did it better because it was drying it out more, whereas 2 wouldn't have dried it out as much. So.
Fair enough. And kind of like on a time aspect of creating the range that you sent out, where did this kind of sit? Was this one of the
This was the last one.
This
was the last one.
Oh, wow.
This is the very last one. We'd done, because we sent over a selection of classic drinks obviously the 4 that are in the box, and then a couple of extras which didn't make the cut. Yeah, like I said, this was towards the end of the process when my mind was getting a bit kind of tired with trying to think of different combinations, because like I said, not only trying to make a nice drink, but make a nice drink that can go in the fridge and be served at home is a completely different ballpark. You have to think about a lot more different factors to make sure that the quality feels the same, because the last thing we want to do is for people to buy the box and not feel that it's the same as going out. Which you're not getting the nice prepared serves and the talks from everybody and all that stuff, but we've tried our best to deliver a set of drinks that's great for home.
100%, yeah. So obviously this kind of series and the cocktail box is all being done because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and obviously Birmingham Cocktail Weekend not happening this year. Would this have been your cocktail, do you reckon?
No, definitely not. We were going to do what's called a milk punch, because the one of the factors that Cocktail Weekender always brings in is it's a high volume of one particular drink.
Yes.
And you normally have to produce a lot of them at once. It's a big event where lots of people gather. We get groups of up to like 12 people sometimes turning up. And so what we always try to do is make sure that we can, obviously the size of the Vanguard's not very big, so we want to make sure that we can get people in and out as quick as possible, and still make sure they have a good time. So rather than trying to simplify the way we make drinks, this year we're going to do, previously we've done things like slushies, and I think slushies are massively underrated. You can do amazing things with them. I think a lot of people don't see past the gimmick. So what we're going to do this year is what's called a milk punch, which is an old sailor's way of preserving. So it's milk clarification, where you would use milk to preserve a drink, by curdling it. So it sounds really horrible and it's really tasty. But what you basically do is you make a very acidic cocktail. You add boiling milk to it, it curdles it. But what that curdling does is take away any solids that would make the drink spoil. And what that means is you can make batches and big, large batches of them. And then you can serve it really quickly, but you haven't dropped any quality at all.
Yeah.
And they when you take out the solids, you release more delicate flavors. So they tend to be like lighter drinks rather than like super heavy. So we thought this year that'd be really good. So we were going to do it on block ice. So every customer's going to get really fancy ice and poured over it. And one, because the cocktail's ready to go, but it's also preserved as it is. So it wouldn't matter what day you had it, it would taste the same throughout the entire weekend. So that's what we were going to do. But obviously, this has forced us to think more creatively, working with Alex to get this done. And, not only just creativity with the drinks, but also, creating the whole box, the packaging, the lot in a COVID world wasn't the easiest task to do.
I can imagine.
But we've so far so good, and I think it's going to be really good for the people who have bought the box. I think they're going to have a really good time with them.
I'm looking forward to getting mine through in the post, and the work that you've done together, obviously with Alex and the Cocktail Weekend team, has been really great. It's really great to see that we're not letting this pandemic obviously keep us from having what would have been the 6th year, and fingers crossed, next year we'll all get back out in the sunshine and potentially see a Clockwork Orange on the menu. No, I'm joking. This is just really good.
Awesome. I'm glad you like it.
No worries. Sam, thank you very much for coming by to chat, giving us the lowdown on the cocktails and the box that's coming out. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And before you go,
thank you very much.
Is there anything you want to just finish off with? Any tips or tricks for anybody looking to make some cocktails this summer, sitting at home?
The only thing I would say really is a lot of the cocktail serves nowadays, everyone's doing these shorter serves. So for Cocktail Weekend, what I'd say is just make sure you got some tonic water or some lemonade ready, just in case you want to lengthen any of them. That's a really good way. Tonic water will obviously add a little bitterness. Lemonade will lengthen them really nicely. So keep them on hand just in case you do want them. They're not a necessity, but some people may want them.
Fantastic. Sam, thank you very much. All the best.
Perfect. Thank you very much.